We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. I am your host D-Big, joined by Jim DiLullo. How's it going, Jim?
What's up, man? I'm ready to talk some fights. Another week, another fight night. I'm absolutely ready.
Tonight we will be talking UFC Vegas 24, which is headlined by Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. At first, there was supposed to be Whittaker going up against, as you know, somebody else, but Kelvin Gastelum jumped into this. I think this makes the matchup even better. Yeah. I liked it over Paulo Costa. Not a big Paulo Costa fan, but Gastelum, after last fight, I think the fact that they get to get this fight going after almost having it a couple years ago is just great.
Yeah, for sure.
But once again, we are Cage by IQ. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now Twitch. The Twitch URL is twitch.tv/CageMyIQ. So if you could go to that, give us a follow, that'd be great. And then if you could go to our YouTube page at Cage My IQ, subscribe to our page. You can get all of our content and then check out all the posts within the content. I put a question in each video, so definitely answer that and get the ball rolling with the conversations in the comment section. But let's get started with the main card for this Saturday, which the first fight will be a lightweight matchup between Luis Pena, who is 8-3 and is the -150 favorite, going up against Alexander Munoz, who is 6-1 and the +125 underdog. What do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, this is a great matchup with two guys who don't have a problem letting it go to the judges. Pena has been more comfortable with letting the fight go 3 rounds rather than he has previously. And he recently switched gyms. He was with AKA for a very long time. I think since The Ultimate Fighter, where he was working with DC and Khabib and those guys over there. And now he's moved all the way over to Florida. He's doing American Top Team. So I expect to see a different approach from Lewis. Munoz, on the other hand, is an intriguing fighter coming out of Team Alpha Male. Munoz is good on his feet and can finish the fight early. However, lately he has been going the distance as well in his last 4 fights. I believe they were all decision fights. I see Munoz trying to push the pace, whereas I see Pena trying to take it to the ground and get the submission. In this fight, which it could go either way, I'm going with the cooler nickname and one of my favorite fighters, who's Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross. So I'm expecting Pena to showcase his skills and get the decision win. I think this goes all 3 rounds.
Yeah, like this is an interesting fight. You got Pena coming in at 4-3 in the UFC, and then you got Munoz. He's coming in at 6-1. Just like you said, Pena is more of the grappler. He's going to want to get on the ground, whereas Munoz, he's going to want to stand up. He does the switch stance. So when he fights, he keeps switching his stances. That's usually what he tries to do to combat his opponent. And just like you said, he's going to want to pick the pace up. And interestingly enough, Munoz averages 2 takedowns per fight. So usually he would want to go for the takedown, but I think in this fight, it'd be wise for him not to.
Yeah,
because
sure.
With the Pena's grappling expertise, he'll just get caught in a submission, or he can make a mistake when taking him down, and it might work against him. Where he's the more polished striker, even though Pena is not that bad of a striker, I think accuracy wise, Pena's better with his hands, but just volume wise, Munoz will get off more, and then it'll be more effective. But I'm in agreement with you. I think Pena is going to win this. I think he's going to get him down to the ground, and I actually think this is going to be a second round rear naked choke by Luis Pena.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about this fight because I want to see the change that Luis Pena has gone through going from AKA to American top team. You see when fighters go from one gym to ATT, the change is drastic. I feel like it's one of those things where there's so many great fighters and up and coming great fighters that you really have to be on your A game and you can get comfortable in another gym. So kind of switching it up, as long as there's no bad blood between Luis Pena. I believe at one point he was living with Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
I love Luis Pena's story, his name, all that stuff where he met his dad at one of his fights. He had never seen his dad. He's got a very great story. But I'm curious to see if the team alpha male comes out in Munoz, where he's just constantly shooting for takedowns, because that's a wrestle heavy gym over there. But I'm going to still ride with Pena in this one.
Yeah, I could see that, but luckily with him having a grappling background, that's a very good thing with the American top team. They're known for that.
Yeah.
You have guys like Michael Chandler who shoots himself, but he's that. You got
Tomorrow, Gilbert Burns,
Amaro, Usman used to be there before he went to Denver. But you have a bunch of guys there that he can learn from and get a different aspect of the game, more of the grappling instead of the wrestling. I always think of that as the wrestling sambo camp, and then you got American top team, which is more of the grappling. So I can see why he made the move. He wants to get more into his wheelhouse, grappling. And I don't think that they probably made a big deal about it. They knew that he probably needed a change of scenery because he was 4-3 in the UFC. So
yeah, and they're both coming off a loss. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting to see who's going to get on track. I think it was Kama Worthy and not Nasrat Hosparasat, the Kelvin Gastelum lookalike. That was the last two losses. So I'm curious to see who gets back on track, and it's gonna be a good fight. It's a good way to kick off the fight, but also the first fight of the night is our friend Anthony Bierchek. So I'm riding for him too. I think you have an interview coming up tomorrow with him, so that's going to be super interesting. I'm very excited for his fight as well.
Yep, that'll be released tomorrow at noon.
Yeah,
so definitely check that out. But to move on to the second fight of the main card, we have a middleweight matchup, which it pits up two guys in Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who is 10-3 and the -300 favorite, going up against Jacob Malkoun, who is 4-1, is the +240 underdog. What do you see with this matchup?
Yeah, man, this fight features two knockout artists, both of which are coming off a loss as well. It seems to be the story of most of these fights. 2020 was a rough year for Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who was hyped up to kind of take over the UFC. He had highlight knockouts, but then he dropped two straight. Malkoun is coming in as a boxer with those 4 fights like you spoke about, and he's also coming off his first loss. I'm expecting this fight to be short, as these guys have dynamite in their hands. I can see Abdul Razak Al Hassan, using his judo to test Malkoun's ground game. If Whittaker weren't on this card, honestly, I think that this would have been the fight of the night or a performance of the night, because I don't think this one's getting out of the second round. So with that being said, I'm going with Abdul Razak Al Hassan by second round stoppage.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Everyone knows that Jacob Malkoun is Robert Whittaker's training partner. Yeah. They work together all the time. That's why he has that boxing background. And then I think a big thing with Abdul Razak's bad year was he was having trouble with his weight, making weight.
Yeah.
So the past couple of fights, so he moved to middleweight. This is his debut at middleweight. And what he's known for is he starts with the fury. He comes at you, and then usually what kills him is if he doesn't finish you, like he fades. It's like that Francis Ngannou effect. Like he starts fading after he doesn't get you. So he's going to go for the knockout finish, and then all 10 of his wins were by knockout. So he knows how to do that, and I think this matchup isn't going to change anything. It's just going to be what happened to Jacob Malkoun against Phil Haas, I believe it was, where came in, got knocked out within the first minute. I don't think it's going to be the first minute, but I think he's going to get knocked out in the first round. I think Abdul Razak Al Hassan is going to want to come in and make a statement now that he doesn't have to worry about his weight. And then with all those knockouts, he's going to want to put the division on notice. So I think he's going to get the win by first round knockout.
Yeah, I mean it's a great prediction, man. If you're coming in there with that power and you're not going to be depleted and you're going to be you're going into the fight similar to what you normally walk around with, that's a dangerous man to step in there against somebody who only has 4 professional fights in mixed martial arts. And that black belt in judo for Al Hassan is pretty intriguing as well. Like if it gets to, a dirty fight and this goes in deeper water, I just expect Al Hassan just to take him to the ground and kind of drag this fight out. Lay on top of him, pepper in some ground and pound, and make the ref stand him up.
Yep. But to move on to the third fight on the card, which had a late replacement last week, we see Andre Arlovski, who is 30-20 and is the -135 favorite, go up against Chase Sherman, who is 15-6 and is the +115 underdog. And then this is a heavyweight matchup. What do you feel about this fight?
Yeah, man. This matchup, similar to the matchups we've seen recently with an established heavyweight going up against a surging fighter. And more times than not, that established heavyweight is Andre Arlovski. He's become one of the gatekeepers in this division. He fought most recently 2 months ago against Tom Aspinall. It didn't go well. He got choked out, I believe, in the second round. I've been a fan of Andre Arlovski since he made his debut in the UFC, and it's been hard for me to see him take this damage he's been taking. With Sherman, he's finally back in the UFC. His last fight against Ike Villanueva was his return fight after going to bare knuckle boxing to kind of polish up his stand-up. I see Sherman pushing the pace like these young fighters are doing and trying to get that established fighter on the back, get their heel on the back of that shortened octagon. And he's going to try and get out of there quickly. So with that being said, I'm going with Sherman by knockout in the first round, man. I don't think that this is going to be a quick fight either.
You read right from my mind what I was thinking. Andre Arlovski, he is 3-3 in his last 6 fights. So like he's been rotating wins and losses, but he can't get over that hump of the 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss that he wants to. And like he's not the same fighter that he was before. Instead of knocking guys out, his game plan now is to go by decision, because like a lot of guys now aren't getting knocked out by what he throws.
Yeah.
And he tries not to move backwards. He tries to just move forward. And whereas Chase Sherman, just like you said, he's come back to the UFC. This is basically his second chance. And he said that he's going to make the most of it. He's improved on everything that he had from the first time. His technique, better understanding what he needs to do in the octagon, like his gas tank. He tends to move forward instead of backwards. And then just everything on. Like he said, like it seems like in last fight, it's just everything seems to connect right as it should be now.
Yeah.
Instead of like worrying about this, and this. It's just coming to him now. And he feels like he's at his best right now. And just like you said, he's not going to be afraid to take any of Arlovski's shots. He said that in one of the pressers the other day. I'm not afraid to get hit. I'm just going to come after him. Instead of being passive, he's going to be aggressive. That's exactly what Aspinall did with Orlovsky. He came after him, and Orlovsky couldn't withstand it because he was the younger fighter. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be the first round, just like Aspinall. I think it's going to be a second round knockout by Chase Sherman.
Okay. Chase Sherman looks so much better his second time around in the UFC than it did the first time. He was getting dominated in his fights in the first time around. And then he had, albeit it's one fight, but I credit a lot of that to going up against, these hard hitters in the bare knuckle boxing. His only loss in his last 5 was to Joey Beltran, who is an absolute monster. And if he's going in there and he's testing his chin and putting it up against these guys who don't have any gloves, they're just going out there to headhunt, not taking anything away from Arlovsky's power, but the gloves are going to add a little bit. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's just a little more polished standing up, and he's ready for a firefight if it gets there. I'd be interested to see if Arlovsky doesn't try and take this to the ground. We haven't seen that in a long time. And I feel like we kind of forget about his ground game. So I'm curious to see if he takes him to the ground.
He tried to against Aspinall, but Aspinall had a very good takedown defense. So.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great on his feet, and he's great at takedown defense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But this is going to be a good fight. It's always a good fight when Arlovsky fight, for whether good or bad, regardless of what side you're on. He's always an entertaining fighter.
Oh yeah. That's why he has the record that he does. He does have 20 losses, but then he has 30 wins. So he has the pedigree, and then he has experience. So even though he's old in the sport, he was able to adjust his game over time. He's not going to be the guy like what Sherman or Aspinall are, where they're going to come in and try and knock you out right away. He has to adapt, and now he tries to get the volume. He will try and take it down Sherman and then win by decision.
Yeah. And it's not like he's getting knocked out every fight. It's not like JDS, right? In his later stages of the UFC, he was getting knocked out a lot. Where Arlovsky, when you think he's done, he's lost 2 fights back to back, he somehow pulls out a win against like Felipe Lins or Tanner Boser or Ben Rothwell. He strings together these wins to keep himself in there. And the thing about him that I admire the most is, even though he's long in the tooth in the game with 50 fights, he's still willing to take fights in 2 months. He'll jump in there, and he also doesn't care who he's fighting. New opponent, what you said, 9 days. And he's like, yeah, let's go. Let's just throw fists. And
what's crazy is he took the fight on 9 days, and he's the favorite going in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is crazy. Just with his name value, that they made him the favorite.
Yeah, I'm super curious why those numbers are like that. Is it just like sticker value because it's Arlovsky going up against a guy who is like second fight back in the UFC?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he's just back in the UFC. He won his first fight, whereas Andre Arlovsky, he's been here forever.
Yeah,
and then he's just a beast. But I feel like this could be his last fight if he loses.
Oh, I don't want that.
I don't want
to see him fight one more year.
I do, but if he loses, that'd be a second loss in a row.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they want him to lose 3 in a row, because it could happen. Because then you get to those dangerous waters where it's like, okay, I lost 2 in a row. Could I lose a third?
Yeah.
And then what if he wins and then loses after that? Then you're playing the game of like win-loss. Yeah. And it's like, at what point do you just cut it? Because then you're playing against the board there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it depends on how the loss goes. Like if he goes in there and gets starched in the first round, it's, Dana has this thing for when these legends are losing badly, and they're like, he's like, it might be time to kind of hang it up.
Yeah. Which when he came to an agreement with Overeem.
Yeah.
Which both sides saw that I probably need to rack it up.
Yeah, the championship wasn't in Overeem's future.
And he's younger than Arlovsky.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's a thing to keep in mind, that how old Arlovsky is. But let's hope that he doesn't. Let's hope that if he loses, it's not too bad, because it's good to have Andre Arlovsky still in the UFC. It's
Yeah.
that name value, and people were going to fight him. So,
Absolutely.
but let's move on to the co-main event of the evening, which we have a matchup that pits up two lightweights now. Jeremy Stephens, who's making the move back up after a 9-year hiatus from the division. He is 28-18, and he is the minus 130 favorite going up against Jakar Close, who is 11-2-1, and is the plus 110 underdog. What do you see in this matchup?
It's been a long time since we saw Jeremy Stephens, number one in the octagon, and number two in that press conference, that infamous press conference when Conor was like, "Who is this guy?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He went from being on the International Fight Week stage to going and dropping 4 straight. You know what I mean? He's 1-4 in his last 4 against big names: Calvin Kattar, Yair Zabit, and Jose Aldo. It's been a rough year for Jeremy Stephens, a rough road for Jeremy Stephens. Whereas with Close, I know he's recovering from COVID. He was supposed to fight. Who's he supposed to fight? He's supposed to fight someone. Oh, Luis Pena in February, and that he got COVID and he had to drop out. But he's won 3 of his last 5. But he's also coming off a loss against Beneil Dariush, who's been on a tear, and that was a ridiculous fight. That he was winning that fight until the very end, until that overhand left hit. But
now Darius is fighting Ferguson.
Yeah, absolutely. What a tale of 2 stories, right?
Yep.
Close wins this fight. He could have went and fought Ferguson, but now he's fighting Stephens, who's no slouch. Come on, man. 28 wins. This is, again, goes to what we were talking about with Arlovsky. If he loses it might be time to hang it up. I know he's going up a weight class, but you don't drop 5 in a row and stay in the UFC regardless of your name. That's just one of those things that, in my mind, I don't see. If he loses this, I think his UFC career is over. I think, back to the fight, that Stephens is going to start aggressive, right? He's going to try to establish dominance and try to keep the fight standing. But I also see Close trying to use his wrestling to wear Stephens out and keep the fight grounded. Again, kind of going back to the Pena and Munoz fight. All in all, if I'm going to pick this fight, I'm going with Close in the fight by decision.
And this was a pretty tough one because Jeremy Stephens is probably one of the toughest fighters in the UFC.
Absolutely.
Like just like you said, he's been on the wrong side of the decisions for the past 2-3 years. All those fights, but I think Aldo, he lost by decision. Like,
no, that was a liver shot. He got body shot and then finished on the ground.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. All but Aldo.
I'm sorry. The only one besides Aldo was Calvin Kattar. He lost by ground and pound.
Okay, but he's lost a lot by decisions. They've gone against him. I think in what was it? That would make it 6 of the last 8 fights.
Wow.
He's lost by a decision because of the division. I think he was too slow for the division. And I think moving up to lightweight gains back some of that speed for him within all of his game. And he looked good. He always looked good in lightweight. And then he started out well and down the division. And then he won 3 straight. But then that's when he lost all those fights. It comes back up. Just like you said, he's looking for the victory. He's going to come in strong. Yeah, I think he's going to come in guns blazing. He knows that Close just lost to Dariush, so his best bet is to get after him right away, so he doesn't gain his confidence back. Then you got Close. He's 5-2 in his last 7 fights, and all of his fights have gone the distance, which is crazy. I think 2 guys that, just like in the first matchup, that like to go to decision. He averages 2 to 3 takedowns a fight. And he's looking to get his first submission. He doesn't have a submission victory in the UFC, but he has come out and said, I would like to get that first submission under my belt to get the ball rolling. Like, I could knock this guy out, but I feel like I could submit him, and that would be worth more than knocking him out. So I have a feeling that's going to be his game plan. He's going to that go for the takedowns because Stevens is known for being taken down a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that instead of trying to trade with him standing up, I feel like he's going to go for the takedown right away, or he's going to wait for his shot. He's going to let Stevens wear himself out and just let going guns blazing, striking right away, and then he's going to pick his shot. He's going to take him down. He's going to try and wear him out even more, and then he's going to go for the submission. But I feel like he's not going to get it. I feel like Stevens is going to be able to weather that storm at the close, weathers his striking storm. But I see this going Jakar Close's way by decision. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision. I think with the takedowns, he's going to have a lot of those, and he's going to control the time of on the ground.
Okay.
I think it's going to be maybe like in all 3 rounds, they're going to spend half of the fight on the ground. And I think that's the way he's going to win. And then he's going to do the ground and pound because I think Jeremy Stevens is too tough to want to tap out.
Oh, yeah. He'll go to sleep before, tapping.
Yeah. So I have this as Jakar Close by a unanimous decision. He's going to move right up into the top 10 because Stevens, I think, is 9. I believe it is. No, he was 9 in down division. Yeah. I think he's going to move up. He's going to be right around Dariush. I think he'll be 11 or 12 now.
Okay.
And he'll get that good matchup, top 10 matchup that would thrust him into the top 10, into the thick of the best division in UFC.
Yeah. So let's talk about Stevens for a minute. That's a big name to win against, right?
Yeah.
So that would, like you said, propel Close into, Close knocking on the back door of the top 10. Do you think that if Stevens loses, do you think it's over? His UFC career is done? Do you think he should go to 1 like Eddie Alvarez did?
I think he should. I think that'd be perfect for him to go over there. Don't go to Bellator. Go there because you'd be better off in that atmosphere. Maybe he goes bare knuckle. Maybe he tries that. But I feel like the best bet would be to go to 1 championship. That'd be better because I think even though he's moving a division, he still lost, I think, 4 in a row. So he's gonna need to get this victory. He might be able to buy some time because he moved back to lightweight. Maybe Dana White goes, okay, he moved to lightweight. I'll give him like a 1-fight cushion.
Yeah, I mean, he might be on the beginning of his new contract, or he might be on the very end of that 4-fight contract. Dropping 4 in a row. I think JDS was the last one to kind of drop 4 in a row, and here we are.
Yeah, him and Woodley.
Yeah, so they're both gone.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what happens to Jeremy Stevens. He's got a lot to fight for, and a desperate man is a dangerous man. So maybe he just comes out and finishes this in like the first minute and be like, yeah, I am that guy. I'm back. You guys are on notice, but my pick. I don't see it going that way.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. I like Jakar Close.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. But now we're moving on to the main event, the fight we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
We have a middleweight matchup between Robert Whittaker, who's 23-5 and is the -260 favorite, going up against Kelvin Gastelum, who is 17-6 and is the +210 underdog. What do you see in this main event?
Yeah, well, Kelvin Gastelum is the savior of this card, stepping in pretty short notice, not a full fight camp to go up against the number 1 competitor in this division, which is smart. You always take those fights if they're offered, in my opinion. But we finally get to see this fight happen. You made mention in the beginning that this fight was supposed to happen in 2019. However, it never happened. But here we are. And the fight has title implications for the winner. Both fighters have faced the champ, with Gastelum faring better than the former champ, Whittaker. Either way, whoever wins this fight should be next in line for Izzy, in my opinion. I know Vettori has thrown his hat in the ring, and he had a very impressive win against Kevin Holland, but I think it comes down to these two guys. I expect this fight to be fight of the night, with Whittaker as the aggressor. Whittaker wants the title back, and Gastelum is standing in his way. And Kelvin has a lot to prove in this fight too, going 2-3 in his last 5 fights. I wouldn't be shocked if this was a 5-round war, but I also wouldn't be shocked if this fight ended in the 2nd round. So with that being said, I'm going with one of my favorite fighters, Bobby Knuckles, the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. I'm going by 3rd round KO of Kelvin Gastelum.
This was a tough fight for me because it all stems on what Kelvin Gastelum we're going to see in this fight.
Yeah.
If it's the Kelvin Gastelum from the 3 fights right before his last one, where he decided that he wants to stand up and trade with you, this is going to be a long day at the office for him.
Absolutely.
And Whittaker will just pick him apart and finish him early. But if this is the Kelvin Gastelum against Ian Heinisch, where he showcased his wrestling again and just dominated the fight by wearing out Heinisch, by slamming him down multiple times, this is going to be a 5-round war if that's the guy that shows up. And that's why I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to use his wrestling because, as you know, Whittaker is a boxer. He trains on that. He showcased himself against Jared Cannonier with the combinations that he was landing, not just with his hands but his feet too. He was going with the leg kick to the jab several times, and then it caught Cannonier by surprise. He didn't know what to do, and it took him away from his game. But that's where I think Gastelum's going to be more prepared because he has fought Adesanya. He's probably given Adesanya the most scare of anybody in the division.
Yeah.
He knocked him down, and then Adesanya was able to recover. And he didn't really, and that's him standing. That's Gastelum standing, not even using his best weapon in the takedown game. He didn't even really use that game. He did the stand-up game.
Yeah, and he should have used that after seeing what happened between Jan and Izzy. The ground game it's not great, but it's also not suspect, but it's there. It's there for the taking.
Yeah. He should have. What I thought he should have done was he should have used the striking to set up the takedowns, not have just to stand up and trade as your mainstay. I think that's what Gastelum has been missing. If he would have hit Izzy and then take him down right after, he would have been golden. He would have been able to wear him out even more. And
but those
down the finish on the ground, but he didn't go for that. He wanted that finish.
Yeah,
and then
those leg kicks though, they stop a wrestler from shooting. You need a good ground game. You need a good frame of reference and just to get in there. And if you're just chopping at those trees, it's going to be, like you said, a long day at the office. And Whittaker's great with those low leg kicks, those back kicks, those T kicks. He's really good at that.
Yeah. But where I think Gastelum is good is he can shoot from anywhere. He's not going to just go down and shoot from in front. He can go down and get the takedown from the side. He can get it from the back, the front, up high, up low. He has that strength where he can do it from anywhere because of his wrestling background. So he can disguise it too. He did that several times against Heinisch. He was able to disguise it, get underneath, and then just bulldoze and slam down. I don't think Whittaker has seen that before. I think Cannonier is a guy that could get the takedowns, but he's tall. Yeah. He's not known for that. He just goes up in the front and tries to impose his will to get the takedown, and that's where Whittaker used the leg kicks and kept him at bay. Yeah. But I think Gastelum's going to be ready for that because he's used to that. He fought Adesanya. I think he can use Adesanya as that fight as a reference point.
Yeah, but Whittaker fought Yoel twice. He could also use that as a reference point where Yoel's comfortable with taking you down, and he's the most powerful. Yoel was the most powerful man in that division. He was like a cyborg. So if you're going up against a monster like Yoel Romero, you're used to being on your heels. You're used to waiting for that shot. That that wrestling game, so he's got that frame of reference too.
And then we know your boy Whittaker didn't look so well against Adesanya.
No, he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out. Gastelum wound up getting finished, but that was later on
Yeah.
when he was winning, and then he just tired out from Adesanya somehow, by the graces of God, like withstanding that storm that he had to withstand.
It's that anime energy. When you got a guy I could only imagine what Gastelum was feeling when he's looking across to a guy who's saying, I'm ready to die. I'm willing to go to war. Like, that would knock me out of my game. My mentality would be like in the stands with a fan, like, oh my God, this guy is a psycho going up against me. He's ready to die.
Yeah, I went on my buddy Just My 2 Cents, his podcast the other day, and we were talking about how we wonder if somebody was blowing smoke under Gastelum's like ego, where he was just like, yeah, you could stand up and train with him. You look good. And ever since that Adesanya fight, and then that's what happened. He lost that. He thought he could trade with anybody, and then that's what he did. He went with the stand up.
Yeah, well, he's got that hype man, right? He's still represented by Ali. So like all of those people, like Kamaru, once he started working with Ali, became like better on the mic, right? So he was able to shoot these promos. Cejudo became a whole different person. And then we got Gastelum. Remember when he put the belt on and he's like, I'm the champion now? Like, when you have a permanent hype man, and that, that's what Ali is. He's there to hype his fighters up, and he does that. You're right. You could get a lot of smoke blown up your ass and really kind of believe your own hype.
I think he went into last fight known, I need to win this because I've lost 3 straight fights. If I don't win this, I could be cut.
Yeah.
And then he won it, and he dominated it. He went back to the wrestling game, and he looked so much better. He looked like the old Gastelum that got himself to the dance. And I think he's going to stick to that. It's going to be more like, I'm going to hit you, but then I'm going to take you down. I'm going to have a game plan now. I'm not going to wear myself out by just throwing so many haymakers. It's going to use those haymakers in a different way to where he's going to hit him when he has the moment. Maybe he fakes the takedown, then goes for a shot. Yeah. But I'm going with the Hail Mary. I'm going with Kelvin Gastelum by unanimous decision. I'm going for him.
Okay.
I could have went knockout. I could have went that. But I feel like Robert Whittaker is the kind of guy that's motivated not to get knocked out after the Adesanya fight. But then at the same time, I really haven't seen him do good against these kind of guys with getting taken down. I feel like Romero did good against him. I thought that Romero beat him in the first fight, and then I thought they kind of tied the second fight. So you really never had Whittaker actually beat Romero. Okay. There was always a question in both fights of who won and then whatnot. And then you had Cannonier. He's just his wrestling isn't on the level that Gastelum's wrestling. No. He fights a different game. Yeah. But Gastelum is just going to come in there and just bulldoze you. Yeah. But he comes in smart when he goes with those. And I think he's going to do that I think he won't tire out like he usually does, because he's not going to unleash the shots way too early. I think he's going to pinpoint when he's going to do it. And he knows he needs this. He knows this is going to get him back to that fight. And I feel like he's going to be very motivated to not mess up this time.
Yeah, if he loses this fight, there's a long list of people to get to that title shot. Mm-hmm. Whittaker, if he loses this fight, he doesn't go down to number 8, but he goes down a little bit further. He might go down to 3 or 4. But if Gastelum wins this, he goes from 8 to 1, more than likely, and puts his name right on the doormat of Adesanya. So there's high risk, high reward for both of these guys. But you look at Whittaker, he's been to the dance, he's fought everybody in that division. He has fought Jacare, so you go back and that's another ground game, not wrestling heavy, but BJJ heavy. But the last 2 opponents have been stand-up. Cannonier, Darren Till. I'm going to ride with my guy. I'm going to ride with Whittaker till the wheels fall off.
I'm looking at Gastelum's fight history right now. He beat Heinisch.
Lost to Hermanson by heel hook.
They lost him by hair hook because he went for the strike, and he had him. He had him packed the victory with the wrestling, and he just abandoned it in the beginning. He lost to Darren Till by split decision. He lost to Adesanya by decision. Before that was the Souza one where he won by split decision. He beat Bisping by KO.
Yep.
He lost to Wyman by submission. He had a no contest with Vitor Belfort. He beat Tim Kennedy. He beat Johnny Hendricks. He lost by split to Neil Magny on the Ultimate Fighter finale. He beat Nate Marquardt. He lost to Tyron Woodley by split decision. And then he beat Jake Ellenberger, Nick Musasak, and then Rick Story. So
I feel like a lot of people beat Ellenberger. I don't know if that's the fight to hold on to.
Yeah. And then he beat Ryan Hall.
Yeah, but then you think about it, like Tim Kennedy was on his way out of UFC. He was going to do like television and more marine stuff.
Yeah.
Vitor Belfort on his way out. Mike Bisping on his way out. Like they're Johnny Hendricks on his way out. So these are all fighters who were like at the end of their careers, at least with the UFC. You got to go and look at those three in the last five, right? Hermanson, Darren Till, Adesanya. Adesanya beats everybody. But Darren Till, common opponent, he lost split to Darren Till, whereas Robert Whittaker beat Till unanimously. So there's a lot there. And Till is kind of similar to Whittaker, where he's a stand-up heavy guy. He's going to throw. He's going to brawl out. So you have to take that fight, and that's like the big one. Their common opponent besides Adesanya. There's levels to this, right? And Adesanya is top level.
Yeah.
And Darren Till is right there. So I look at that fight and the decision versus the split decision. I think that's a big one to kind of focus on.
They also fought Ryan Hall. They both beat Ryan Hall back then.
Yeah, Uriah Hall's been around forever, though.
Yeah, they both beat him. They both beat Souza.
Mm-hmm.
You can say Robert Whittaker, he knocked out Derek Brunson in a main event. But like I said, I look at that matchup with the Adesanya, and he just got destroyed, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to come back and beat Adesanya because he's not known for anything other than boxing.
Yeah.
And he's going to need more than that to beat Adesanya, even with the combinations. I don't know if he's like he showed so much care in the word against Cannonier, but I feel like when I look at both these guys, Gastelum knows that this is his last chance. I feel like he's going to put it all on the line, whereas Whittaker's like, oh, I could lose this, and then I would fall back to like 4 or 5, but then I could win 2 in a row and then be right back in this position.
Yeah. Like he fights Vittori, he fights Costa, and he's up there fighting the champ.
I think Gastelum's going to be like, he's going to be perfect. I think he's going to come in with the perfect plan. But at the same time, like I do pick Gastelum, but I think on the other end, if he comes in and he tries to trade early, I feel like Gastelum's going to get knocked out in the first round if he tries to stand. So it's either he's going to come in perfect, and I think this is going to go a distance like fight a night, like worthy, or I think this is going to end early if he gets back to getting smoke blown up his ass, and then he just goes with the striking and abandons the whole wrestling that got him to this fight against Heinisch.
I agree. It could be a 5-round war, or it could be a one and done.
But that is our UFC on Vegas 24 preview, headlined by Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. We're on the eve of the crowd coming back to the UFC. That will be next week on UFC 261, right in Jacksonville. And then a couple weeks after that, we got the UFC coming to Houston with a live crowd as well. So we're starting to get back to normal in the UFC. I like how they're just doing just the pay-per-views right now for the live crowds. They're spacing it out because you can't really have live crowds at Apex, and then it allows them to keep using the Apex gym right now that they have built, so they don't waste it. I like how they do that for like the fight nights and in the UFC Vegas events. It makes it nice, and it spreads out the everything so that they're still having live crowds, but I like how they're doing it, and then they're doing the UFC Apex.
Yeah, it's
so
a good insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's a very good insurance policy to have in your back pocket. If the fan thing falls through, you have that.
Yep, you can just go right back to it, and then hope things get better soon. But I think everything's on the up and up with COVID. I think it's still going to be time, but I think they'll manage it as best as they can. And I think there's nothing better right now than the UFC right now, because it's been around this whole time. And I do hope that they go back to Fight Island one more time.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope they go back maybe in like June or July. No, maybe in August, since they just announced that in July the McGregor-Poirier fight's going to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
At T-Mobile Arena.
Nice.
Yeah, which is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But definitely be ready for that. Once again, we are Cage by IQ. You can find us on all of our social media handles right down there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and then our URL for Twitch is right there at twitch.tv/CageMyIQ. You can follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube at Cage by IQ. All of our content's on there. We usually have 3 or 4 videos posted weekly, plus all the interviews that I have going every Wednesday, except for tomorrow. We're coming out with the Thomas Burchak interview.
Anthony
Burchak. Too many names. Too many names to think of, but Anthony Burchak. He's fighting on the prelims right now this Saturday, so support him. Let's hope he gets the victory.
Yeah, that was a great interview. That's a must-watch for sure.
Yep. He's the guy who you want in your corner. He's very motivational, and I'm rooting for him to pick up that victory.
Same.
And then check out our affiliate at the Sports Box. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and then subscribe to their YouTube page. And then all in all, I'm just ready for Saturday to get my UFC craving going.
Likewise, man. I'm ready for that UFC fix.
Yep. But anything you want to say before we get going?
Yeah, you can, if you like listening to me more, you can listen to the Active Geek podcast, Galaxy Wars podcast, wherever podcasts are distributed.
Yep, and then just like that, we're also on the same way. Cage of My IQ's on audio now, so you can check us out on all audio platforms, as well as checking us out on YouTube and Twitch. I'm looking forward to getting a live stream for next Saturday's UFC 261. Trying to get a bunch of people on for Twitch. I'm trying to grow the Twitch handle now. As the YouTube is going strong, and be mindful that every Monday we're not going live on Twitter anymore. We're going live on YouTube now, and I'm posting on Twitter. That was very successful last week. I thank everybody who commented, who supported us on Monday. But you can find us every Monday night at 8:30 live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. For Cage by IQ, and where we do recaps of every UFC event. So I can't wait to see you guys on Monday to recap this UFC Vegas card. I am D-Bake. This is Jim, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
See ya.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.